Well, good evening to each and every one of you that has joined us on this Wellness Wednesday call. This is one of our favorite calls of the entire week. And I am here tonight with Dr. Jeffrey Piccirillo. Is that how we say it?
Very good.
Piccirillo, Dr. Jeffrey Piccirillo. I am so blessed and honored to be able to have a conversation with him. And we hope that tonight will bring you some value and some goodness, because right now in these last couple and the next couple weeks on our Wellness Wednesdays, we are talking all things activated GLP-1. And we want to be sure that we bring you value, we bring you information in this launch of this product that is going to be released to the public on October 11th. So tonight we're just going to have more conversation, and I'm going to read a little bit of Dr. Jeff's bio and tell you a little bit about him, and then we're just going to have a little conversation. So hold on to your hats, everybody. My name is Becky Taylor, by the way. I just dove in and started talking, but my name is Becky Taylor, and I am from Linden, Washington, and I've been with LifeVantage, this company that's releasing this absolutely groundbreaking, industry interrupting product for, it'll be 9 years in October. So I'll just be on my 9-year anniversary. Now that alone speaks of longevity. When you can stay with a company for 9 years and be just as excited today as I was the day I signed up. And it's actually, I'm even more excited, to be perfectly honest, because this is really big. So I welcome you to this call tonight. You guys are also wonderful. Thank you for keeping your audio muted so that you could hear us, that we can just have a nice, clean recording. But let me give you a little background on Dr. Jeffrey, who is actually blessed this company with his presence. He's actually quite new to the company, and he'll tell just a little bit of his story, but we're going to get into this tonight. So Dr. Jeffrey Piccirillo is no stranger to network marketing. He started his journey in Montevideo in 2008. He was a 6-figure earner while being a doctor. Don't be afraid of doctors, people. He also rode the wave with ViSalus. When leaving ViSalus 6 years ago, he vowed never again. How many of you did that? I did that too. Never again with network marketing. But this opportunity was too big to pass up. He immediately saw a need for these products in his practice. Now, that's a practice you want to go to, somebody that can support this. He is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon and is considered an expert in regenerative medicine and studied extensively over the past 5 years in the areas of aesthetics, sexual health, weight loss, and anti-aging. Dr. Jeffrey is proud to bring this life-changing technology to the people of Ocala and North Central Florida, and no doubt around the world as well, as the word gets out. So Dr. Jeffrey, we just welcome you with warm, open hands and open hearts, and we're so excited to hear from you tonight because of making this decision. There's going to be so many more lives changed because you said yes to this company and to this opportunity. So thank you and welcome to this. And, because that this is no, you're no stranger to this and you know about sharing, but, we are the #1 activation company in the world. We're the activation company, the activation nation. And we all well know that 15 years ago, our NRF2 cellular activator is what launched this activation company. And with each product that has been released over the last 15 years, they stay in that space of activation. And that's what makes us great. That's what sets us apart from every other company. And so knowing what you know, Dr. Jeffrey, about the human body, the human biology, and now we're going into the conversation of GLP-1, but let's talk about why do we need to activate our bodies?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when I joined the company, and it's only been 8 weeks now, I really started looking initially at Protandim and the NRF2 activation and how that fits in to the launch of the GLP-1 product. And it's so interesting that oxidative stress is really the root of most of the disease processes that we're dealing with today, whether it be cancer, whether it be obesity. Oxidative stress is really is the root cause of this. And if we can control the oxidative stress, we can get our metabolism back in line. A lot of these diseases will go away. And it's truly, the weight issue is truly a vicious cycle. We know that the highly processed foods that we eat increase our oxidative stress. As we increase our oxidative stress, then we downregulate all the hormones that are responsible for our metabolism. We downregulate the thyroid, we downregulate testosterone, we downregulate estrogen, we downregulate human growth hormone. And as those hormones get downregulated, our weight goes up. As our weight goes up and we get more obese, obesity causes more oxidative stress. So now we have more oxidative stress, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. So if we can't stop that vicious cycle, we can't take the weight off. And what we've been seeing in our practice at Regen Ocala is yes, we see people that are coming in for the first time to discuss the GLP-1 drugs, but we're also seeing the people that are coming in that have maybe had bariatric surgery. They've had a lap band, they've had a gastric sleeve, they've had a true gastric bypass, or they have been on the GLP-1 drugs and they've come off of them because of the side effects, the nausea and the constipation and the diarrhea and the reflux. Or they're not losing weight like they want to. They're spending $800 to $1,000 a month, and they're losing 1 pound a week, and they can't figure out, well, this is supposed to be the miracle drug. Why am I not losing weight? Well, it's because your body wasn't ready for it yet. If we can't get the hormones in line first, and that's what we do in our practice, we do a extensive hormone panel, lab panel, and then we try to optimize those first. And prior to me being in LifeVantage, when we were doing that with some other supplements and augmenting the hormones with bioidentical hormones to get everybody ready and then starting the weight loss. Now what we're doing is we're using Protandim NRF2 to downregulate the oxidative stress first for 30 to 60 days, and then starting the weight loss program. And I think people are going to do so much better. We talked a little bit before we started the recording that, the big pharma products, they have a dosage that's set. And I think the dosage that they have set is probably a lot higher than it really has to be. And I think that's where, a lot of the side effects are coming in, is that we're really overdosing the patients. I think both doctors and patients feel that if a little is good, more is better. It's not always the way. And so we can actually microdose and use a quarter, an eighth, a quarter, a half of the high-end dose and still get the same results in a much safer fashion. And this is where I think the GLP-1 activator is going to come in perfectly, is because all this is doing is this is just turning our own system up to 10. Instead of it functioning at a 2 or 3, it's turning that dial up to 10. So it's functioning at maximum capacity, but it's your own system. It's not adding a synthetic drug to your system. It's your own GLP-1 that's getting activated. And I think that, in combination with reducing oxidative stress, I think it's going to be the perfect combination.
And doctor, we've last Wednesday, for those that were on the call, they really kind of went into more that this GLP-1 that's in our body is so critical to so many different organs and systems in our body. It's not just about weight loss.
It's not. I just read an article today. Somebody asked about migraines in the activated weight loss Facebook group. And so I started doing some research, and yeah, there's some proof out there that it helps with migraines. There's some proof that it definitely increases cardiac output. It definitely increases kidney function. It works a lot like metformin, the oral drug that's used for diabetes. So it's definitely helps with longevity and anti-aging. There's just so many things that are involved in the GLP-1 that we're I think, just starting to really uncover it.
That's going to be one of the most exciting discoveries. The body is so smart, and it doesn't lie, and it will do what it needs to first. So, when you talk about dosages, we don't know a lot yet. We have a lot yet that's still yet to be revealed. And people are like, what are the ingredients? We do know that it's natural ingredients. We know, and that has already been published and released by LifeVantage, that it's going to activate our body systems to create the GLP-1
Correct. Absolutely.
hormone or peptide in our bodies, rather than these other white labels. Maybe if you can describe, if you've looked at those, because people are saying, what's a contrast? So we're going to activate our GLP-1, but these other ones are sometimes like, they kind of say let's take a GLP-1. What is it that the white labels are actually?
Yeah, so looking at the white label products, I think there's probably 5 of them out there now, at least 5 that I've seen, and they're not. I don't feel they're going to be an activator. Looking at the substances, the herbal substances that are in the products, I think they're trying to mimic the GLP-1 drugs in their effect, but I don't think they're actually going to activate the body's own GLP-1 system. So I think we definitely have an advantage. And I think the combination of the Protandim with the GLP-1 activator, I think that's going to be the perfect storm. I think it's really going to help people get healthy as well as lose weight.
So, Doctor, let's turn the conversation a little bit this direction, because we do see problems with a lot of problems, and we've heard some testimonies with prescription GLP-1s. And
I
so
see it every day. I see it every day.
Yeah. So let talk to us about that. And not that people are here to listen to see what is this going to benefit us. And there may be others that say, yeah, I've had them, and maybe drop it in the chat if you've I've had some of these problems. But so as a doctor, because we're talking to a doctor, talk to us about what you've seen, the problems of putting that synthetic in our bodies versus what we see coming, activating the GLP-1.
Yeah, our drop-off rate, or our failure rate, I guess is the best way to say it. People that drop off the drug prematurely because of complication is probably close to 40%. And that is mainly for GI side effects. So the biggest reported one is constipation. It slows our digestive tract down so much that we pull all the water out of the stool that's passing through the GI tract, and it gets hard, and people get severely constipated. However, we see it the other way as well. We see severe diarrhea that can last months at a time. Nausea so bad that they have to go on another prescription drug to take care of the nausea. And then because your digestive tract is slowed and food is staying in your stomach longer, significant reflux. If you, and I had this problem when I was on one of the prescriptions, if I ate any later than say 7 p.m., if I went to bed at 11 or 12, I had such bad reflux that I couldn't lay down. I had to sit up and try to sleep in a chair. So, I mean, that's the big problems that we're seeing it. And as far as I know, talking to people that are in the study group, or we're in Club 55, we're not seeing those complications at all. Those complications do not exist with the activator. So, that's going to be a huge benefit to keep people. We've already sent out emails and have made some calls to the people that were in our practice that have dropped out and said, hey, we have something new now coming that's going to be cheaper, and we're not going to see the complications that we had with the injectables.
So what other, I see some that we've, people are dropping in. Thank you for commenting in here too, just to let other people know that if you've been on this, of what kinds of things. And it seems to be more gut, and just, I can't even imagine just having nausea all the time, and having any of those kind of issues, let alone not quite knowing what this synthetic version of a chemical is actually really doing into your body. And those are the unknowns. That's with anything that's pharma, is you kind of know, but you don't really know what you're actually injecting into your body, nor what the long-term damages could actually be.
Yeah, and the pharmacokinetics are actually pretty interesting, because one of the questions that I was asked in the Facebook group was, how can I convert from the injectable form of GLP-1 to the new activator? And, the half-life, which is the time it takes the injectable to metabolize down to half of its normal strength, is about a week. So at the end of 1 week, you have about half the remaining dose still in your system. But there's detectable drug still in the system at 4 to 5 weeks. So it does linger out that long. Now, I think that if you're on an injectable and you want to switch over to the activator, I think after the first week, if you're on it for weight loss, let me say that if you're on it for weight loss, after the first week, I think you could probably just stop your injections and start the oral activator. If you're on it for diabetes, I think it's going to have to be a discussion that you have with your doctor. I think that if we're talking about on it for diabetes, then we have to take into consideration the blood sugar, and we don't want to throw somebody into a high blood sugar state or a hypoglycemic state. So I think that that's going to have to be a discussion on how to add in the activator and then decrease the injectable form. And in our practice, we're going to do that with a continuous glucose monitor. We're going to have them purchase a glucose monitor, put it on so we can monitor blood sugars over 24-hour periods for long periods of time to make sure that we're not running into any problems with that. And I think that's a discussion that has to be had with your physician that's doing it for you.
Yeah, definitely. That's absolutely great. So, so I guess we're kind of into that conversation of the difference between what we have that is going to be what is happening naturally in our bodies versus what is happening with the prescription.
Right.
And that's going to, if you want to talk into that.
Yeah, with the activator. So, with the activator, it's similar, I think a lot of us know the science of Protandim, and as we take it, we keep building up superoxide dismutase in our body that continues to work and neutralize the free radicals. I think with the GLP-1 activator, it's going to be the same way. We're gonna fine tune that system, and we're going to continue making natural GLP-1. There's not going to be a half-life. It's not going to be like if you take a shot of one of the prescription drugs in a week, half of it's gone, but it can linger out to 5 weeks. We're going to have a nice constant steady state of production. So it's going to be an ongoing process. And because of that, I don't think we'll ever have too highs or too lows. We're going to be a nice steady state position.
And that was actually another one of my questions, doctor, in that, when you're taking it, because there's going to be people right now in our clinical studies. We have our second clinical study that's about 55, maybe 60 people that are on the product, and they are all different sizes, from pretty thin and very little to no weight to lose to very, needing to lose a lot of weight, and though some having great success. And we're seeing the successes differ, but we're also seeing the stories differ. But my question is this, thinking that you have a small person here that's taking it, and you have another person that it maybe needs to lose a considerable amount of weight. Now, this is where, would you say that the activation part of it comes in, where the body is smart, because the dose for me will be the dose for somebody else, right?
Right.
And so how does that work for two people that are like, okay, you have two completely different body compositions, and yet we're going to be consuming this activator?
Yeah, so it's interesting the way the body works. So if we're taking, I'll use the word supplement for a lack of a better term, but if we're taking a supplement with the thoughts of we're going to activate or turn on a system in the body is always going to reach for homeostasis. It's going to reach for a steady state. And so the nice thing about that is we're not going to go too high. We're not, we're going to reach that maximum, turn the volume up to 10 level. So your body's running at a perfect level, whether you're wanting to lose 80 pounds or you're wanting to lose that last 15 pounds after you had a baby. It doesn't matter. Each of those persons is going to reach their own steady state on the dose of the activator that they're getting. It doesn't.
And that's how smart the body is, right? I mean,
yeah,
the body is going to use and do with it. I mean, some people are using it just for brain performance,
right?
And knowing that there's so many other health benefits to it, as well as as the weight
the
loss
weight
too.
loss.
So there's a lot to be had there. So doctor, is there anything else you want to speak into or share with us just about this that you've done
Well,
that
yeah. So, I looked at it and I looked at, what would be the perfect storm. If somebody walks in, and we have this happen, running a medical practice is really a learning curve. When I first started, obviously when I first started, I was taking insurance and doing orthopedic surgery, and none of this stuff was even on my radar. But when I switched over from an insurance-based, big pharma controlled medical practice to a cash-only regenerative wellness practice, initially it's hard to talk to patients about money. Bringing up, well, I think we should do this and this and this, and this is what the cost of that treatment's going to be. And that was always a hard, because we didn't have to have that discussion when we were doing insurance-based medicine. But then there's patients that are kind of feeling that you're talking down to them if you don't offer them the best that you have. Mm-hmm. So, I looked at, what is the best that I have? And so obviously 1 to 2 months of Protandim to decrease oxidative stress, to help turn on the hormones, thyroxine, testosterone, estrogen, human growth hormone, to help normalize those levels and normalize the metabolism. Then start the GLP-1 activator. I think the fat burner absolutely needs to be included into that. It's going to help burn both peripheral and deep body fat, belly fat. And then there's 2 other products that I think will perform synergistically with this whole package. So those 3 are going to help get rid of the weight. The 2 things that we see in our patients that are successful on the injectable drugs, and I don't think we're going to see as much of a problem with this with the activator, but the 2 other things that we see is, we call it Ozempic butt and Ozempic face. So Ozempic butt, losing too much weight too fast, which I don't think is going to be an issue with that. Not only do you lose fat, but you lose muscle. The studies that have been performed that you can find on PubMed, and you can find them on my Facebook group. I did a video on that. Is you lose anywhere from 20 to 50% muscle mass on the injectable drugs. And the best way to prevent that, obviously increasing protein in the diet, increasing exercise, doing some squats to help keep the muscles in the buttocks strong and healthy, but also NAD. The NAD activator, NAD helps recruit stem cells and helps decrease muscle atrophy as we age. So I think adding the NAD product is very important in this weight loss journey. And then the second is liquid collagen. We know that we're going to lose, as you lose weight, you lose fat everywhere. That's going to be fat in your cheeks as well. And by staying on the liquid collagen product, we can increase the collagen in the face, I think help protect some of that fat and some of the wrinkles and things that are associated with weight loss. So I think if somebody says, give me the best that you have, it's those 5 products working together. I keep joking with Tara that they should call it the Dr. Jeff bundle, but I don't think I see the company doing that. But I think that's what that would be the bundle that I think if somebody came to me and said, give me the best that you have, that would be the best.
That's great advice. And it's also great advice for any of you that are listening here that maybe have not started getting activated yet. Hear it from the doctor's mouth.
I honestly, and I shouldn't say this because it may be counterproductive, but I honestly do not think you should start the GLP-1 activator if you're not activated with NRF2. I mean, I just think that most of the obesity that we're seeing is mediated by free radicals. And if we don't address the root cause, which is those free radicals, well, actually the root cause is probably highly processed foods that we eat, but unless we can eliminate those completely, and we probably can't, we need to do something to address the free radicals, and the pro-tandem is the way to do that. And I absolutely feel that everybody should be on it at least a month, if not 2 months, before you start the GLP-1.
Well, and maybe they'll be like, but I'm too excited. Let's just start them together.
Yeah, you can start them together. I think starting them together is fine, but
yeah.
I really don't think you should be on one without the other.
Yeah.
I really looked back, and obesity started really becoming more of an issue probably in the 70s and 80s. And so, what changed in our lives in the 70s and 80s compared to the 50s and 60s and early 70s? And it was the start of highly processed foods. I'm proud to say I'm 62. And so, I can remember growing up in the 70s, and, the majority of the food that I ate was probably grown or raised within 50 miles of my house. It's not that way anymore. Everything now is out of a package. And I think that's the big change. I think the big change is once we started having a diet that was highly processed, obesity started to creep up. And then, like I said earlier, it becomes a vicious cycle. The highly processed foods increase free radicals. The free radicals cause obesity. Obesity causes more free radicals. All the hormones are downregulated. That's causing more weight gain. You can't get out of that cycle. And so I think it really takes more than the GLP-1s, especially we're seeing that even with the prescription ones, that people aren't losing the weight they want to lose. And the solution, I think, with most physicians is, oh, you're not losing what you need to lose. Well, you increase the dose, even increasing the dose above what the maximum normal dose. I have people that come in that are taking double what the maximum normal dose is. And they're trying to deal with the side effects, and that's not the answer.
Now, just in wrapping up and closing here, just our last couple minutes, there's people are just double checking what the products were that you would say. So we know it's the NRF2, NAD, fat burn, collagen, and what are we missing?
GLP-1 activator.
And the GLP-1. Okay, so that's your five magic from Dr. Jeff to do. And to get on at least one of the activators now, I'd say collagen and NRF2, or even to begin the NAD anytime. I mean, the Tri-Synergizer, get your bodies activated. But we will be having, and thank you, Andrea, for that reminder here in the chat, that coming out, the report of the first human clinical study will be blind. They don't know anything about Life Vantage. They don't know anything about activation. So we're going to be seeing in real time their results, which are pretty great from what the rumors are, versus what the results are of those that are activated before they've started the product in advance. And then we're going to have many of you are saying, my people just won't get activated now. They're going to wait and order it later. We'll educate them in the meantime of what activation is, so that when they take the product, they're taking it with an activator.
I'm also looking at the chat box. Sandra Castro asked, what is NAD? So NAD is a substance that is normal in the body. The NAD pathway actually converts over to something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a strong stimulus for stem cell migration from bone marrow to peripheral tissue to help with the healing process. But it also has effects on the heart. It has effects on cognition. There's some studies where they're using it for dementia. There's some studies where they're using it for Parkinson's. It's a pretty amazing supplement that you can put in your body. And we have one that will increase the body's own production of NAD.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Becky. Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure and my honor. Honestly, it's all of our honor to have you on here tonight and just hearing it from a absolute professional. We are so excited for what's to come. Get back with the person that invited you to this call. Get activated, and let's get excited about this GLP-1